Hey my loves, it's been a while. I won't even say welcome back to my channel because it's like, do I even have the rights? I missed recording. It feels actually really good to be in front of a camera again, and I wasn't actually sure how it was going to feel. I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it. I wasn't even sure what was me, and that's what today's episode is going to be about. And I am so thankful and just entirely too grateful for my YouTube journey. I mean, it has been, well, anyway, we'll jump into that in a minute. All right, guys, so if you're new here, my name is Destiny, and I am a mom of 2, and I am a writer and a stay-at-home mom. And I started my vlog channel for moms who were going through depression, whether it was postpartum or just depression and motherhood. I was looking for something a little more relatable, a little more something that resonated with my life. I felt really out of sorts as a mom, especially once I became a mom of 2. So to tell you guys a little bit about my rock bottom, I have to give you a backstory, and I'm going to go ahead and openly admit all of these things that I probably have never, I don't even think, admitted before on my channel. And I am going to talk about how I manifested my life before I even knew I was manifesting it, and what this journey actually ended up becoming for me, and where I'm at today. All right. So I, like I said, started my channel based off of, you know, my depression at the time. I was really adamant on becoming just like a really healthy mom, and I just had really plateaued. I was in a career that I let define me, and I now see what the difference between like living within your ego and striving within your ego versus like just being truly content and authentic with yourself and just living within the moment. So we are going to dive into all of that. And don't be alarmed if my kids interrupt, because we are still on summer break, thankfully. I'm very blessed to be home with them. It has been a very chill summer. I really did enjoy it, but next summer I'm definitely, anyway, another story, another day. So as most of you guys know and seen it firsthand, my family was directly affected by COVID. Prior to COVID, I had depression, postpartum depression, that then rolled into generalized depression, and severe depression and anxiety, with just a whole other, just a lot of depression, to sum it up. And I was heavily medicated after my loss of my father, and I was already doing YouTube. And it was really weird because I remember saying, like, I was in such a low place that I did not know how to show up for my channel. And I don't know if I ever actually admitted that for my channel, because it's been so long since I really sat in the camera and really just felt honest. But yeah, it was, I couldn't show up. I couldn't figure out how to articulate like day-to-day living, because I wasn't showing up as a mom, and that's where I'm going to be honest at. I wasn't showing up as a mom. I wasn't showing up as a wife. I was just falling really short. And I really want to start off, before we go in any further, like obviously major trigger warnings for anyone who's battling any form of depression, suicidal tendencies, thoughts, or ideations, or whatever they're called. I also want to hold space for people that don't have anyone to turn to. I did not realize my resilience and my ability to push through things until now. And I don't think I ever held enough space for people to fight their battles. So if you're going through something, I just want to slow down, just take a second and say, like, breathe. Honestly, that's what I'm gonna tell you. Breathe. Just take a second, just like regulate your nervous system and just breathe. The thing is that if you're watching this video right now, you're already experiencing something, whether you're looking for manifestation, whether you're looking for happiness, whether you're looking for guidance, hope, ways of getting out of loss, grief, feelings, and anything that you're going on. Chances are you already are subscribed to my channel because of this, or you found my channel at this point because of this. So I want to hold space for you and honestly tell you, like, this is your sign to know that there is a light. You might not see it, might not feel bright, but there is a light, and I can say that with confidence. So rock bottom and what that looked like for me, I like I said, was just in a really low place. I wasn't showing up for my work. I wasn't showing up for my kids and all the other things that were really important to me. I went into YouTube not actually like wanting a career out of it, but just really wanted an experience out of it. I wanted to expand, and I didn't know that's what it was at the time, but I wanted to expand other people to see ways of balancing life in a healthy way, and to find happiness, because I at that point was surrounded by so many people that did not know how to find happiness, that I was just like holding everyone's hand, like, but guys, like, follow me, like, we could do it like this and it's so much easier. And some of these people were some of my closest friends, and I was, again, just too low to be there for them, because I really needed to be there for myself. So there's just so many avenues there. But anyway, I got off subject. So rock bottom, it wasn't the rock bottom where I'm like, oh my god, like, I have no money coming in, I have absolutely like nothing going on, like I'm living paycheck to paycheck, but I'm still like going out and like posting on Instagram my vacation, and like posting like that I'm happy, and that I'm shopping all the time, and that I am, you know, just living this truly like graceful life. Like, that wasn't the case. Like, my rock bottom, I was completely removed from everything. I tried to like show up on Instagram and stuff like that, and it just wasn't really connecting. I didn't feel like myself, and somewhere along the way I just lost the connection. That's just the reality of it. So after the loss of my dad, and I was going through and being treated clinically for depression, which I highly suggest. This is rock bottom from depression versus rock bottom just for your inner self, are two different worlds. Rock bottom for my depression, I think this is a good point to actually bring up, was like, I wasn't getting out of bed. I wasn't eating. I wasn't like showering or taking care of myself like I needed to. Like, and I'm not saying that I was like walking around crusty, but like I was truly clinically depressed. I would just sob on the floor, like just no quality of life, like no ambition, no drive. I knew through a professional when it was time for me to, you know, come down off my medication. Therapy was an essential resource and tool that I needed to get through this next portion of my life. But at this point, I was already calling in happiness. Like, I was begging God for joy again, and I was fighting to be a better mom, because I knew I wasn't being like the clearest version of myself, and in order for me to do that, to be a good mom, I needed to get back to like a balanced version of myself, and my nervous system was just fucking shot, and I had no idea that I was living this state of like survival, and no one explained this to me, and I didn't have anyone around me that was as self-aware as I already was prior to the rest of this journey of how I ended up manifesting the life that I wanted and finding my journey of gratitude. So when I say like self-aware, I mean like I'm not like, oh my god, like I look so good today. Like, girl, I'm a plus size mixed queen out here, okay? Like, I'm not, I know who I am. I show up as I am almost every single day to the best of my ability. I'm not perfect. I don't intend to be. I don't portray myself to be, regardless of how I might come off to you. Like, I'm not trying to be perfect, because I do accept that like imperfection is what's gotten me here today. So I assure you, I'm not ever seeking perfection. But I do recall a time where I was, so we'll get into how survival mode looks and variations. There have been a handful of times that I can recall that I was not safe in my life, and that I made radical shifts to get me out of positions that could potentially harm me. And one of those times is when I asked my parents to move me out of Florida into New Jersey. Most people don't know that about me. That is not my, this is not where I'm going with this, and it's not the time to share that story, but that was a hyper awareness at a very young age. I was only 15, where I told myself like this was not a safe space for me. I needed to be like I knew I needed to be grounded. I didn't know the term at the time, but I knew I wasn't going to make it out of my situation in Florida alive if I stayed any longer. So I looked at my dad and I was like, you got to get me out of here. And they had me on, like, had the house up for sale, and we moved to Jersey all like within less than, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months. Moving to New Jersey changed my entire life. I'm incredibly thankful for my parents' leap and that decision. It has so that brought me, you know, the connection of my family. I was then more supported because I have more family here. I have my like best friend here who I swear is my soulmate in life. There is literally no me today without her. I'm not like giving her all the credit, but like we are that yin and the yang, and she has just kept me. I just couldn't imagine going through life without her, and her importance is also going to come up like down the road too. Just so much more, you know. And I found a little bit more about myself here. So living in Florida, I am again biracial, and I grew up in a very wealthy-ish town and just grew up around a lot of people that were supported financially. And I saw luxury for what it was, and happiness and joy, and I just always was like, oh my god, I want something like that. Like that's something that always seemed like a life that I could envision for myself. And but no one really looked like me. So when I moved to Jersey, it was a little different. I was able to kind of accept myself, my body, the love of my skin and my hair, and just my ethnicity all together. And that was my journey, my experience. That's not to say that everyone's is different. That's just my experience. So I found a little bit more about myself during that rock bottom. And then the next rock bottom would have been this very toxic relationship that I was in my 20s. But that rock bottom was one of the first ones that I can note going back on, like radical changes that I've made in my life that have brought me to the next like up level. And I say that because I never knew that I was manifesting a life until I later educated myself on the science and the beliefs that go behind manifestation. So it was just really cool to like point that out. The next rock bottom led me to actually my husband. So I can definitely do videos on each one of those topics, but that's not where we're going today. So my examples for that is because every rock bottom has led me somewhere. A rock bottom led me to YouTube, where I was really desperately looking for a career because my identity was so intertwined with being a hairstylist when I was pregnant with my kid, with Zay, and you know, I just wanted to go back to hair and I just couldn't. I was being called to be a mom, and I had a really hard time leaning into my mom era. I had a really hard time of letting go of my job, my title. There was a lot of things that I had to let go of, and it really was hard to adjust. And I don't think a lot of people realize how much remorse went into that. But it was what it was. It was my experience. And of course, it led me to YouTube. So we went right into the pandemic, and you know, I tried my best, guys. I tried my best to show up for people. I tried my best to be happy and to fight, because everyone would tell me like, you're so strong, like I don't know how you do it. And I'm like, the fuck is everyone talking about? What? I'm not strong, I'm barely surviving. During that time, I had a lot of friends kind of fall off too. By that point, I was at my lowest, and all I can offer was what I could give. And I was really aware of that. I was like, look, I am doing my best. And it wasn't enough for some people, and I had to be okay with that. So I get to this portion, and I'm like, okay, I am done with my medication, but I still don't feel happy. You know, I'm not clinically depressed, but I am like not happy. Like, what's going on there? I couldn't figure out what was going on. So in January, my best friend and I decided to take a girls trip. Just for the weekend. I said, you know, I need a little bit of a recharge. I have a kid who's just out of this world, but he has severe skin issues, and he wasn't sleeping, and I was just so sleep deprived at this point. It's been over a year and a half of skin issues, no one's sleeping. Again, nervous system shock from COVID itself, and then, you know, the loss of my father and the grief of him, and then just like I just was living in this state of just like, what the fuck. At one point, I even went and got a job because I thought that that was what I needed, and I just kept getting called to like to write and to do YouTube. And at this point, after I lost my dad, I did find time to sit down and write. Writing kind of helped me escape my reality, and I wrote my first book and published it, and I'm so proud of it. But I didn't go in with that as a career. I just did it because I knew I could, so why not? And it's like, who decides to write an entire book and just because I can, so I'm going to, so I did it. Like, no. But anyway, another story. So in January we go away, and I said to her, I want to manifest my life. I've been watching enough YouTube videos of these girls saying like they're manifesting, but like I don't trust any of them because it looks fake. Like, it doesn't look genuine, and like I don't know if I can really believe it, but like I really need to start calling in like happiness. Like I just want to be happy and good. Like, it's time. I'm tired of living like this. So we write down the list, bop, and the next week I'm at home and I stumble across the Expanded podcast with Lacey Phillips and Jessica Gill, and I was like, Jessica Gill, that's my maiden last name, Gill. And I was like, I'm a very sign oriented person, and I kept seeing like I just follow pings a lot and just intuition a lot. So I was like, Jessica Gill, okay, how to manifest, this is interesting. And I fall into this Expanded podcast like rabbit hole, and I'm just like, whoa, what is this world? And I listen to Expanded podcasts every single day. I can almost completely remove myself from like social media at this point, and I wasn't even really watching TV. I was just playing this podcast all day long, cleaning and listening to it, and just really resonating with these episodes, these real people that were calling in these beautiful lives. And I'm like, wow, that's so amazing, because a lot of their upbringing and their cultural backgrounds were so much more, and in my opinion, respectfully, more complicated than mine. And I'm like, wow, like if they can go through this, like so can I, because not for nothing, like I'm a pretty tough bitch. I've already proved that to myself. Like, and I was kind of getting to that point where I was accepting, like, you know what, no, like pat on your back, I did do this and I got here, and you know, I got to all these points. So I started Expanded, and then I looked at my husband and I said, listen, I know this sounds like super woohoo, but I really am calling in. Like, at this point I knew, like, YouTube, whatever happened, like I'm here to support. That's what I came into YouTube for. But I really wanted to call in a career of ease and like luxury and just happiness and creativity. And at this point I was already writing my second book, and my husband's like, Destiny, why aren't you just like dedicating your time to YouTube and writing? And I'm like, what? I gotta get a job. And he's like, no you don't. And I'm like, yes I do. Now, mind you, at this point, I've been a stay-at-home mom for like 5 years. So I have no idea why I felt the need to get a job. Like, I have no idea why I didn't feel like I could embrace YouTube and writing as a full-time job. Like, I'm already provided this lifestyle to accommodate this. Like, why not? So I said to him, I said, you know, I think I want to start this TBM program, and I think that this is what I need right now. And he was like, go for it, you know. And he's the most supportive person in the world, and I will gladly do a video on how I manifested my husband, because I now, looking back and through my TBM work, can truthfully say I 1000% manifested my husband without knowing it. And I can also tell you that, anyway, whatever. So I started TBM, and it was right before the Magnetic Self Challenge. So this is very recent. It's all a very recent journey. And this is why I'm bringing it to you guys now. I'm actually going to continue to document my life from here moving forward on the things that have actually really improved my day-to-day living to the best of my ability. And I'm not looking for more subscribers or more anything. Actually, I am just here to give somebody, even if it's just one person, an opportunity to see their life and their possibilities just through a different lens. That's the only thing I'm giving here. So started TBM, and it starts with how to manifest. And I first of all love Lacey Phillips. She has introduced me to like Mark Groves, Joe Dispenza, like all these people, and this mindset was just really resonating with me. And I'm like, damn, this is a really good mindset. It was very, very simple. It was very fucking simple. It was just like going back to your authentic self and surrendering to God and to universe, source, whatever, whomever. And this is not up for debate, guys, like full disclaimer, like I don't want to hear your 2 cents on anything. This is just my experience and how I got here, and I'm very, very proud of it. So that's why I'm sharing it. But I mean, you can keep your comments if they're negative to yourself, is what I'm trying to say. And I really loved it. So Lacey goes on and talks about these authentic codes and these things, and I'm hearing people talk these stories. I'm like, there's no way hypnotherapy, EMDR, or any of these things are gonna help me get better. Or whomever's watching this chat. I started with how to manifest. I came up with my pillars. I don't actually even remember my 4 authentic codes at the time. I remember I struggled with them. I have them written down somewhere, but I don't know where they're at. Anyway, but I remember thinking like, that can't be my authentic code. And I became like a perfectionist about just how to figure out who I was. And I was like, why am I trying to perfect my code? So that was 1. So then I went into inner child, and that bodied me. I mean, it was the most magical healing experience. Oh my gosh, it left me in my bed crying, like in pain, just like crying and letting go of so much trauma. And it's not to say that I had a hard upbringing, because I didn't. My parents, I had a very loving father, and my parents did the best that they could. My mom did the best that she could, and she is one of the most important people in my life now. And you know, it's just been a real crazy journey to get here. And my dad would honestly probably be so fucking proud of me now that I think about it, but I won't cry. Anyway, so you know, I did inner child, and I let go of so much shit. I mean, so much shit that wasn't mine. You know, I was holding on to other people's insecurities. I was holding on to other people's fears. I was holding on to other people's visions. And I am such an empath that I was holding on to everyone around me so tight, desperately trying to hold on to their love and the connection that I had to them. But through the course of TBM, I was able to peel away so many onion layers that a lot of these relationships were inauthentic to actually who I was. And I was actually just responding in survival mode up until this point. So if you guys don't know, there's stages of survival mode: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And I never heard about fawn. I always heard fight, flight, or freeze, and I was like, oh, those never really resonated with me. Through TBM and expanded, I found out about fawn, and I realized that I had been in a survival mode of fawning for probably majority of my life, at least half of my life. Through TBM, I found out that I did my human design, which is I do mine through Genezo, and I'm a 5/1 in human design projector, and I just know things. I ended up finding like that there's like, I don't want to say like psychic-y, but like I had this really strong intuition my entire life where I just knew things. And you know, my best friend can attest to it. Like, I'll get a bad feeling in my knee and I'm like, something bad's about to happen, and then we almost get hit by a fucking train, and that actually did almost happen, to be fair. Stuff like that. So it's like, I was so far removed to that girl that knew herself, you know, the girl that trusted who she was, that was confident in who she was. Like, I was so, at this point, so far removed because I was in chronic survival mode for so long. I had no identity. I also had a severe enmeshment with my father, which thankfully in my case, I have a very healthy relationship with him. I had a very healthy relationship with him, but there's just, you know, situations that as a daughter I probably shouldn't have known about, and it wasn't anything important. It's just like boundaries, like parental boundaries. Bless his heart, he was a godsend. He was my best friend and vice versa, I'm sure, but like, or I know, but growing up, I think there was just things that, like, as a child, it was best for me not to be involved in or know about, because that changed the outlook of my opinion about other people. Anyway, I also ended up going into, like, my dad was, he was an Aquarius, as in I'm an Aquarius sun, a Capricorn moon, and a Virgo rising. My dad was an Aquarius, but he was an Aquarius who I can probably confidently say his authentic code, generosity, had to have been one of those pillars, because he was just like the most generous person in the world. He just loved hard. He was just extremely compassionate, and he led with that heart. And I had got, like I said, very lucky that my enmeshment was with somebody who loved so strongly, but because when he died, most of my confidence, my security, my comfort lied in him, you know, and who we were, you know, who he was in my life and how he supported me. And that led to the detachment of identity and my disconnect with social media, and how I couldn't find my voice again because I did not know how much of myself was intertwined with him. So TBM, inner child, the first round was a lot of forgiveness to my mom. Again, she is the best, and like, she's a good nene, she's a really good mom. She's probably the most resilient person I know, and honestly the only reason why I'm probably as resilient as I am is because of her. And she's taught me a lot. She's taught me so much, but I had to understand her more. So that's where inner child came in, and I held on to her. She doesn't need to do this work for me to move forward in our friendship, our relationship. She is somebody I genuinely respect, and it has taken me years to get to that very honest truth. And it feels good. You know, it feels really good to let go of things that wasn't mine. Like what happened in my parents' marriage, they stayed married. My parents were married until the day my father passed away. My parents taught me what a marriage, a friendship looked like, and I remember thinking, like, I want to have a marriage that I know will always be best friends, because if we're always best friends, then we always got each other's back. But as a child, I craved like connection and love, so my pillars are like luxury and connection, freedom to work the way I want, and legacy. And that really lied into how I was showing up as a mom. So boom, start TBM, I'm like inner child, boom, body. Then I go through shadow, and I'm like, oh, I have a hard time being seen. Like, I didn't even know I had a hard time being seen. I'm already doing YouTube and Instagram. I've done boudoir shoots and like posted them all crazy. Like, there's no way I'm, you know, having a hard time being seen. But when I was in this rock bottom, I was completely stripped of an identity, and I was as raw as it can be, and this was me being fully exposed, and I had a really hard time being fully exposed. My armor wasn't blocking the way that I felt when people looked at me a certain way, the way I felt when any moment of insecurity, because I was so weakened internally. I was just so vulnerable to other people's projections, and I just couldn't handle it. So I go through inner child, I go through shadow, I go through unblocking, I go back through inner child, and I'm still like, what the heck is missing here? Like, what am I calling in for a career? Meanwhile, I decided to take a break from social media, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna delete my account. I kept getting this really strong ping, delete Instagram for a little bit, like just surrender a little bit, let's get a little silence. I had a lot of noise around me. In the middle of this, I deleted social media, and then all of a sudden I just started having issues with like girls that were around me. And at this point, I'm fully immersed in the magnetic self challenge, and I'm like, what is going on? These people are like, I'm getting like shaded left and right. People are like putting me in these dramatic situations. Like, I'm not somebody that gets involved in people's shit. Like, what the fuck is going on? Things with my husband started to like teeter. I'm like, what? I have such a solid marriage. Like, my husband's my best friend. He is, oh my God, I don't know what I don't know what I would do without him. Like, what's going on? My lesson through TVM was not what I thought it was going to be. It was so much greater, and I am so excited to continue to dive more into this. And this isn't about TVM, this is about what's next, but I just feel like so much revolves around this section for a reason. So I'm like going through all these workshops, and I'm tired, and I'm sleeping more, and I'm just like accepting new things about me. And I'm like, wow, like it feels really good to be like, okay, I'm a projector. No wonder why I'm always fucking tired after I listen to people talk for 2.5 hours about what's going on in their life, and I'm like drained. But then these same people weren't coming back into my life and doing like either the same for me or supporting me in a balanced way. So it was really just like kind of removing things. And then I went back through inner child again. And then one day I just finally sat down and I said, I'm a non-specific projector. So, all right, how am I going to call in what I'm manifesting if I'm a non-specific? Well, I need to know how it feels. So cheat sheet is that my mother-in-law is an intuitive. And she comes up to me like a while ago and she's like, Destiny, you know, you want to be a writer and you want to do influencing, and like, I think you should, but that's not where your purpose lies. And I was like, psh, it lies there. I'm telling you, I'm meant to be a writer. She was like, but that's not where your purpose lies. And I was like, okay. Well, anyway, TBN helped me find that. My purpose was never in my career. I have career chase. I could do anything. I've gotten things I wanted without even really trying. Like, I wanted my car. I'm like, I'm gonna get that car and I'll get it. I wanted to become a hairstylist, became a hairstylist. I wanted to become a good one, damn sure made that happen. I wanted to become a color specialist that specialized in texture hair, watch me do it. I wanted to become a salon manager, my eyes closed. I mean, so much that I would put work into, it was coming out. But for other people, like, why can't I do that for me? So I'm gonna write, you know. And she's like, Destiny, that's not what your purpose is. So I was like, okay. My purpose was never in my career because it's not my career. You know, my purpose is in my presence, my day-to-day, with my soul. You know, what I bring to the table that you can't see. You know, the things that make certain women uncomfortable around me, and the things that make certain men uncomfortable around me. The things that help me stand next to somebody in crisis and calm them without even saying anything. The times that I've given a compliment to somebody and they've stopped me and said, like, you have no idea how much I needed that today, or this morning this happened, thank you so much. And those intuitive moments where I was able to give grace and compassion to somebody who needed it, I was really being called for that. And my mother-in-law was like, you know, she kept saying, and I just couldn't connect. I didn't understand. And then I realized that, you know, YouTube was my purpose, is my purpose, but not for my ego way. And all of my other videos, probably up until like obviously my wedding and like my COVID, you know, cry, we're probably more out of ego, you know, unless we're talking about like feelings and depression, they're probably out of ego. And then I thought, well, why not show you guys what it looks like to actually live my life, and do it freely, you know, and show purpose of what it's like to get through mental illnesses and to fight for your life again, and to show you that, you know, your life is worth fighting for. For those of you who don't know, I had 2 suicidal moments where I genuinely got entirely too close to ending my life. So my purpose wasn't to get followers. My purpose was that there is somebody who teeters that line like I did, who looks like everything is fine, or that is completely capable of carrying it all. I am here to tell you, you don't have to. And it took a lot of therapy. to be magnetic, which is CBM. I just realized I haven't actually said the whole name, to be magnetic. And a lot of expanders to get here today to sit with confidence and say, like, we are good. We're going to be good. You know, this channel is going to be exactly what it needs to be, because it's going to touch the lives of the people that need to hear it, just like Expanded found me. The universe has a way of playing, you know, it's not playing a game, because like no one out here trying to play a game. And the way of playing you to see how you're going to maneuver on your chessboard. What move are you going to make next? Because if you're going to make the move that the universe knows you should make, you're in that aligned path. But if you're not there yet, that's okay. Go this way. The universe is going to make it a little complicated for you to see why you're there. Let's get you back over here. Let's get you back in alignment. I was always meant to be a writer. I would pretend write as a kid on these like old like typewriters that I would find in my grandparents' house, or I would have at home, or yard sales or whatever. I would picture stories in my head of events and romance and love, and the reason why those things came so smoothly to me is because it was something I had always craved. I always wondered how Cinderella truly lived her life once she became a princess. You know, those were the things that I had envisioned for my career, and then I had been told through, you know, media and programming and other people's lack that there was no way I would ever be a successful writer. So I went through all of my workshops, boom, 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 and then I said, okay, Destiny, how does this feel? I want to manifest my life. How does it all feel? So I write down everything I want, material. And then I said, okay, well, these feel like this feels like this. So what am I really saying is that I'm calling in a life of, and I listed, I wanted to become a writer, not because of the success, because I'm not here for ego success. I'm here for security. You know, I'm here to support my family so that I can live the life that I want. I don't want to be, I'm an Aquarius. I want to be free to travel and do whatever I want, but I have a Capricorn moon, so I have to logically play that out. So it's like playing all these parts of me and understanding me so much deeper than I ever have. Welcome to your 30s. And I was like, I want to call in a book signing. Like, I just started naming all these things, and I'm in the middle of the manifestation challenge, and it's like, then all of a sudden I get a DM from somebody, and they're like, listen, I want to host your book signing. You know, I would love for you to, you know, do this, and we would love to have you here. And I'm like, is that really happening? Oh my God. But then I let somebody's insecurity get in my head. They're like, well, did you really want to do that? Like, I write adult romances, like my books get a little raunchy here. Like, is that something you want to put out there? But I am proud of my work, so why shouldn't I, right? Then I finally said, you know what, let's do something a little crazy right now. Let's reach out to a publisher. And I started reaching out to publishers in the midst of my challenge, and my book ended up getting picked up by a publisher, and I signed a contract for a book deal. And I remember this like buzz throughout my whole body, and it was just like this tingle, and it was like, oh my God, this is what connection feels like. This is how I know I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. And it didn't matter how much money was in my account or how much whatever. I am so supported by the universe that they want my book. Like, they're making money off of my, like, you're what? And then I was like, wow, that clicked. And then when I started looking at my list, I realized I was already living in my alignment. I was already living this manifested list that I created years ago, and I'm living it now, and I'm going to continue to live it every day, because if I'm living within my presence and I'm calling in safely, feeling safe to call in material things or spiritual growth or whatever it is. The spiritual growth was really intense. It was a journey, and it's a journey that deserves to be documented. It deserves to be loud. It deserves to be honored, because I am honored. I'm honored to be here to talk about this, to live, to be the mother that I am today. I'm a, you know, good mom. Like, I love that about me. Like, what? I'm a present mom. Like, right now I don't have any social media accounts. You can definitely follow me on Instagram or whatever, but Right now I'm just taking this break and just of stillness, and I love not having social media right now, and I can definitely do a video for that too. And if you guys have any questions, drop those down in the comments. I'll pull your questions out and I'll bring them to the next video and answer as best as I can. But you know, again, I'm on this journey, and if you're on it too, then we're all on it together. And if you're looking to start, please ask me away. Like, I want to help people. And yeah, I realized through Expanded and To Be Magnetic, my life experiences, who I am, who I know I am, that manifestation is not only real, and I think that that might be even, it's not only real, it's doable. But aside from the material things, like, yeah, I manifested my car, I manifested my purse, I manifested my new vacuum, I manifested really good jeans from American Eagle. An experience, I would like to add, of my jean experience was really pleasant and empowering too. I manifested, I mean, everything. But what you guys don't see, the things I manifested behind within myself is that happiness, that joy, that balance, that stability, that security. And I can even go into how this affected my marriage. And again, it was in a positive way, but it's like everything about me is imperfect. You cannot look at my marriage, me as a mother, me as a friend, me as a writer, as a vlogger, and think she is perfect. Like, I don't want anybody watching me, reading my books, or in my friend groups to ever look at me and be like, oh, she's so perfect. No, I am so fucking flawed. The shit that I have done to get here, sacrifices, the tears, the pain that I faced head on, I never was afraid of pain. Pain doesn't scare me. Fear doesn't hurt me. Dark, black, no light, that shit gets scary. And that one was the realest shit I ever heard. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, no, this is not okay. So I think for me, it felt so in alignment to go down this journey with To Be Magnetic. It was, in my opinion, the chef's kiss to my therapy. It is not about like a trend. I don't even know what they do like on TikTok or anything like that. Like, I don't know any of the trends or anything, but it is this fact that you cannot put a price tag on the way that you want to live your life. You cannot put a price tag on the moments that, you know, you get to embrace with the people that you love. I have the privilege, and I say that out loud, I have the privilege of living within my alignment and the life that I've always wanted, even as a child. Like, I wanted to be a mom that could cook dinner every night for her family, and there was a time in my life where that wasn't okay to accept or to be okay with. You know, I am no longer straddling the line between my feminine and my masculine. It comes through when it needs to, and the balance is there. Like, but I am really leaning into my feminine right now and enjoying my mom era, my self era, and where I'm at right now, which is I am no longer in a healing journey. I realize that this entire chef's kiss portion, which is my TPM journey, has actually been more of a gratitude journey. And it's a gratitude journey that I hope I never have to get off, because it is exactly what I need to keep me accountable, keep me aware, to hold me to myself and my dreams and what I genuinely want, which is everything on my manifestation list. And I keep bringing it through. I keep making these things happen. And I was like, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do. I have to be unapologetic about my vlogs when I drop my kids off and I get to go to the gym, and then after I go to the gym I go to Target, but then I'll probably go and get a Starbucks. And this life that I was like kind of embarrassed to document, because I was like, I don't want people to feel like, oh, like she's better than me. But in reality, that's not the case. I genuinely found my alignment, and I'm not here to make you feel small. I'm here to encourage you to find your path. I have been made felt small my entire life, so I get it. I can assure you that's never going to be my case. Follow your intuition. Down below, I'm going to leave my affiliated link for To Be Magnetic. Check out the Expanded podcast because I think that they're great. But above all else, love on yourself, guys. It is worth it. You are worth it. I don't know where we got in this habit of thinking that we weren't worth being loved and that we weren't worth being cared on, and that we didn't deserve balance and intimacy and tenderness and, you know, compassion. These areas that we like muscle through and put our armor on. Like, drop it down, do it the right way. I know what it's like to do it in the unhealthy way, so I wouldn't suggest that. Doing it in the right way is really leaning into your present, into your now. Don't worry about what happened yesterday. Don't worry about what's happening tomorrow. Surrender to your now. Take it day by day. All right, guys, so that is my ultimate life update, and it feels so fucking good to get this on camera, and I'm so honored to be able to be this person that can come out here and tell you guys stuff like this. And I look forward to inspiring and expanding you into, you know, whatever you got going on. But as we move forward with a book deal and growing my family and that life that I've always dreamed of. So definitely thank you. I guess thank you for the opportunity. YouTube, my YouTube community. Oh my God, I'm so indebted to all of you. And if some of you have already bought, my book is still on Amazon. It will be coming down once it's relaunched, and we'll move forward from there. And the second book, for those of you who have already read Forever Mine, Forever Yours, is very much almost done and will be coming out right after the relaunch of Forever Mine. So thank you guys so much for that love, that support, and I hope I can continue to guide you into more of an aligned life. All right, I'll see you guys next time.